On episode 654 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we discuss how to measure success in health and fitness. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/654. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-link specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Hey, Raz, how are you?
Good, Alan. How are you today?
I'm doing very, very well.
Good. Good to hear that.
Yeah. I'm again being back in Bocas and kind of having some things organized around me and having a somewhat of a schedule for a little while here. I'm getting ready to do a couple of like big things for
Cool.
me, and unfortunately, when this comes out, this will already have been released, but maybe that's not unfortunate. Because Bernie, I was on Bernie's podcast that's called Midlife Fulfilled podcast, and he brought me back. We were talking and we came up with the idea of doing like a little workshop. It didn't start out as being a workshop. It's like, let's do a couple podcast episodes and we'll work this through and walk someone through the whole process of building a very good mindset and motivation model for yourself so you can get healthy and fit. And then I said, well, if we're going to do it, it really needs a workbook so we can walk people through it. And then from that, then we have these two episodes. It's about 2.5 hours of time. Now, of course, I invested a good bit of time in building the framework of the workbook, and then he had a graphics person, so we made it nice. Pretty.
Very nice.
And then we recorded the whole thing in one sitting. So about 2.5 hours of recording, maybe closer to 3.
Wow.
And the recording was corrupt. And
oh no.
So we had to go back and we started one session and we got into it. And fortunately that file works, but we had to break it into 2 sessions. So we've been working on this for about 2 weeks now, and but we got it all done. It looks like everything's a go. And so you're listening to this, there should be 2 episodes from Bernie that are out there. And so what I would say is if you'll go to 40plusfitness.com/MMW. So MMW, M is in motivation, M is in mindset, and then W for workshop. That's going to take you to a page where you can download the workbook that I was talking about. And it is pretty. My picture's in it too, but it is still pretty. And then you can go listen to those 2 episodes. He'll have links to the free podcast episodes. So you can go listen to those episodes and it'll walk you through that workbook. He also has it available on YouTube. So the video will show where we are in the workbook. But if you just sit down with the workbook, it's pretty simple to see where we are. You may have to pause it several times as you're going through it, but it's basically a workshop, a free workshop with a free workbook, and you can work through it in those 2 episodes. So again, if you go to 40plusfitness.com/MMW, that should take you to that page, and go check it out and let me know what you think.
That sounds awesome. I can't wait to take a look at that. Anything about mindset, that sounds great.
Yeah, this is 2.5 hours of it.
That sounds right up my alley.
But it's valuable. Like the thing is that, his graphics person, he ran this through with her because she was doing the
Mhm.
workbook, and he wanted her to understand the concepts of what was in it as she
Mhm.
was trying to build it. Because it's, sometimes it's fine. You're like, okay, I need you to do this thing. And then they don't have to know what all the words mean. He
Mhm.
wanted her to have a better idea so that as she was developing it into this graphical thing that we were doing, that she would understand enough to be able to see, and make a few creative decisions as she went through. And she did a really good job. But
Neat.
he said when she got done with it, she was like, this is amazing. She's like, this
Hmm.
this really changed the way I think about a lot of things. So again, if you followed me for a while, you kind of know where I am with all of this. If you don't get your head
Mhm.
straight, your body won't go there, be
Yes.
it health, fitness, or anything in your life. So this
Mhm.
is an opportunity to sit down, do some self work, get yourself into the right frame of mind, the right
Mhm.
place, and then, of course, build your motivation out so that you can be successful
That
in
sounds
health and
awesome.
fitness or really anything. So this is a tool
Neat.
that could actually be used somewhere else, but we predominantly presented it as a health and fitness tool.
That's awesome. That sounds great.
Cool. So what's up there?
Hot, hot and humid up here, Alan. By the time I get used to this, it'll be fall and I'll be
Yeah,
ready for racing
time to
season.
pull out your flannels.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, running is great. Just keep 'em busy doing that. So, yep,
Well,
now I've
good,
got time. Yep.
good, good. All right. Are you ready to get into measurement?
Sure.
Today, we're going to talk about how to measure success in health and fitness. Now, if you've been following me for any period of time at all, I'm a big fan of data. I think data can help us solve a lot of problems. If we don't know what's working, we don't know what to fix. So, data is often a really good tool to help us see if we're on track or to help us troubleshoot problems as we move forward. But there are some problems with data, particularly if you find yourself measuring the wrong things. So, when we talk about how we're going to measure for health and success, I think the first thing I want to talk about is what are some things that we should probably avoid measuring. Okay, the first one that hits my list here is the things that you don't have control over. I could want to be 6'1" as I could just want it. I mean, I like want it with all my heart, and I could do everything I thought that was necessary to be 6'1". I could stretch myself. I could get one of those hanging things. I could do a lot more just stretching. Uh, I'm not going to be 6'1". I'm just under 5'11". And that's pretty much what I got. I can't control getting taller. So it really doesn't make sense for me to measure that. And in a sense, I can't really control what I weigh. So we often measure our weight as a proxy for a lot of other things. And I'm just going to say right off the bat, you don't have total control over that. So losing your mind over what the scale tells you, we already know that's a bad idea. But maybe you just shouldn't be measuring it at all. Okay. Another one that I have on here is comparing ourselves to others. So, I'm in the fitness trade. And every day I'm out and I'm working with other trainers. I see them. They're out there on Instagram. They're out there on Facebook. And if I took the time to compare myself with them, I would not be a personal trainer anymore. I don't look like them. I'm not as young as them. I'm not as strong as them. I'm not as fit as them. I can't do the things they do. So measuring yourself against others is a real recipe for disaster. Even if it's someone that you would say, well, this is my ideal. This is someone just like me doing just what I do. Comparing yourself to others is a pure recipe for failure. Okay. The next thing is measuring things that don't matter. So similar to things you don't have control over, the things that don't matter would be, you know, maybe you were measuring how fast you're able to run your 5K practice runs, or how, but you're not really going to be running 5Ks, but you want to know how fast you're running. So you're measuring your speed, or you're measuring your distance, or you're measuring something, but that one thing really doesn't matter when it comes to the big picture. What you're doing there is you're focusing on something that, while you can control it, it isn't really moving the needle for you. And so by measuring that, you're kind of wasting bandwidth. that you shouldn't be wasting. You could spend this time and effort in so many other places. Okay. The next one is measuring everything. And at times I've been a little guilty of this, particularly when I was trying to figure all this stuff out. I thought I should measure my sleep. I should measure my, my blood pressure, measure my weight, measure my calories burned, measure my calories consumed, measure everything I eat, measure all of my workouts, and measure. I remember when I was first starting out my career, I set up a Quicken account, which is an accounting system for keeping up with your finances. It was about as complex as General Electric's accounting records. I mean, it was like I had every single detail of everything in my life quantified and measured, and I spent a lot of time doing it. Now, it was somewhat of a hobby, but none of that really mattered. And I was measuring all this different stuff. And the reality was it wasn't changing any of my behavior. So if you're measuring everything, what behavior are you going to change? Because you can't change all of your behavior. So measuring everything doesn't really help you out in the long run. Measure the things that matter. Okay. And then finally, things that disappoint us. Okay. So again, if you know things are going on in your life and you're not able to move the way you want to move, and you're not able to do the things you want to do, and so you're measuring your VO2 max, and you realize the fact that you've been sitting on your keister for the 3 months you need to heal your bones or your joints, and you notice your VO2 max is going down, that's just going to disappoint you. So if you're dealing with things or something's going on, and there's something that you were measuring, but it disappoints you to see it now, you might want to stop measuring that until you know it's something that you do need to work on and can work on. So if things are making you want to quit, you need to stop measuring that. Okay. Now, things you should measure. Okay. And this is an important list. I want you to take some time to think about this. Okay. You should measure your investment. How much time, effort, and money are you putting in to your health and fitness? And I know that doesn't sound like something you should measure, but it is actually one of the best measures to know that you're doing enough. Okay. If you're investing time, if you're investing effort, if you're investing money, then you know you're doing the time, you know you're putting that in. Okay. And then this other measurements that we're going to talk about in a second will kind of let you know, okay, cool. If I'm putting in the time and effort and money and I'm focused on the right things, I should be getting the results. And that's what you can measure. So do invest, do measure how much you're investing, because that's a big element in understanding how successful you're going to be. Measure the things that you know are making you more healthy and fit. So things you could measure is how many servings of vegetables are you eating? How much protein are you eating? How many steps are you taking in a day? We know all of these elements are a part of our health and fitness. How many hours am I sleeping each night, and what's the quality of that sleep? Okay, again, as long as it's something that you know you're going to be able to make an effort to improve, it's worth measuring, because then you can address whether you're doing what you need to do and your time, effort, and money are focused in the right areas. Okay. Finally, things that we have control over. So, antithesis to what we said earlier, don't measure things that you don't have control over. You do want to measure the things that you have control over, particularly if you've set goals for those actions. So where you have set a goal for the amount of vegetables that you're going to eat, or the amount of water that you're going to drink, or the number of steps you're going to take in a day, you're going to want to set goals, and then you measure to see that you've hit those goals. Now, not long ago, I talked about SMART goals again, and how that should be a part of the way that you do goal setting. I don't want to go into that right now. You can go into the show notes. I'll be sure to have a link to that episode. But another thing you can do to help you set goals is to download my free a SMART goals set. It's just a little PDF. It's a guide to help you set better goals, And you can go to 40plusfitness.com/goals and download that goals worksheet. That's going to help walk you through how to set proper goals. And then, yes, one of the M in A SMART is measurable. So to know that you're succeeding in that goal, you will need to measure it. And it's going to be an action, so you know it's something that you can control. Okay. You do want to measure where you are now versus where you started. Okay. Too many times we look back at who we were before. Like, I remember when I was in 34 jeans, or I remember when I was able to do these things. If we continue to measure ourselves against our past self, we're never gonna shore up. We're never gonna work. So we do want to measure ourselves against where we started this journey. I'll share something at the beginning of this month. You know, I'd been traveling quite a bit, and I had sort of just kind of drifted off a little bit on my fitness and my nutrition, just a tad. But over time, from when I started kind of doing that to because I was really working hard to get ahead each time I left. So pretty much I would say from probably the end of March until the beginning of July, I was really lax on a lot of things, and I watched my weight start to creep up. Okay. And I'm used to annual fluctuations in my weight. That's not something that bothers me. I watch it, but I just kind of play around with where that is and get comfortable. It had gotten just outside my comfort zone. So, you know, I knew where I was not where I needed to be. I knew I'd put on some body fat and I needed to start losing it. And so that's what I did. I kind of line in the sand, you know, draw that line in the sand. This is where I am. And each day I've been measuring my progress on how I'm doing to get myself back to the physical condition that I want to be in, and even a little bit better. So it's not that I'm measuring so much, just measuring my weight. I'm also looking at the amount of activity I'm doing each day, because I want to steadily increase that amount as I go. So week to week, I want to watch my activity level go up. I want to add new things as I'm ready, as my body is physically ready for me to accept more work. I will be adding that work. And so this is a steady process, but if I were to sit down today, I mean, today is August 6th. So we're going through a whole month of doing this. I'm going to look back at where I was on July 1st. And that's where my measurement criteria starts. So looking back at where I was will give me an idea of what I've accomplished in what's basically going to be here 5 weeks, almost 6, of effort. How much effort did I put up? What was my investment? What are things that I did that made me more healthy and fit? Okay. Did I measure the things I had control of? And was I tracking that? And so now I'm not comparing myself to some way before. I'm comparing myself to when I started this particular set of efforts. Okay. And then the final one is, I want you to measure wins. Okay. Too often we look at outcomes and we're like, did I hit the outcome? And if we wait until the outcome comes, we've probably waited too long. We need to celebrate the little ones. And little wins are everything that you do every single day that gets you closer to where you need to be. So if you said no to the donut at work, that's a win. If you made sure and you did go to bed half an hour earlier last night than you normally were, so you could get a little bit better sleep, that's a win. If you've added some additional steps to your week this last week, that's a win. Every little thing you do, it's not just the outcomes. The outcomes are nice. So, you know, celebrate the outcomes. That's great. But I want you celebrating the actions that you've completed, because when you get happy about those, you get more willing to invest in getting them done. there's a party at the end, if you will. There's a celebration, the celebration of wins. And so be willing to celebrate those wins. And then I think the one thing that we should measure the most, this is probably the most important measurement criteria that you can ever have when you're trying to improve your health and fitness, is gratitude. And what I mean by that is we must be taking the time to be grateful for what we have. The human body is a wonderful, wonderful gift. It is capable of improving itself, healing itself, and doing amazing things if we take care of it. And so if you're taking care of your body, you're probably seeing your body improve over time. And that is something to be hugely grateful for. But initially, just be grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that. The fact that you can improve your body is such a gift. The fact that we can get out and go for a 30-minute walk is a gift. The fact that we have access to good quality food is a gift. All of those, be grateful for those every single day. And then as you have your wins, as you have your positive measurements, be grateful that you had the capacity to make that happen. Because in the reality of life, we have health, we have fitness, but above all, we have joy and happiness. And joy and happiness come from gratitude. And so if you will measure your gratitude by always being aware of what you're grateful for, taking the time to sit down and really think about it, write it down, whatever you need to do to make it real in your life each and every day, you're measuring your health and fitness the right way. Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan, this was really insightful. I think that a lot of people, when you're considering or reviewing your own health and fitness journey, the measurement of weight always seems to take front and center, no matter what.
Yeah, it's
And
absolutely the most important number you're ever going to know. Your weight is your worth. That's the number.
Yeah,
Not the weight you want to be, then I
then
don't know.
forget it.
Yeah,
Yep.
forget it. It's over. Journey's
Yep.
over.
It's terrible. It's so useless. And like you had mentioned, it's something that is often disappointing. I don't know. I think a lot more people that I know are more disappointed when they get on the scale than are, or they're emotionally driven by the number on the scale. It really can set the tone for the day.
That's the key. That
Mm-hmm.
is the key. Okay, collecting data is great. Using
Mm-hmm.
data appropriately is great. But
Mm-hmm.
when you find yourself emotionally attached to a piece of data,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when you have to question that data. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just weight. So if you didn't close your circle yesterday and that's ruining your whole week,
Yes.
then we, that's something to explore.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at your training in a particular run and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, my whatever number was, was
Mm-hmm.
not as high as it was the previous time I did that
Mm-hmm.
particular training run,
Mm-hmm.
that's a problem. So what we want to do is we want to be objective and collect data. I weigh myself. I'm not opposed to weighing myself, but it's a piece of data.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm trying to cut some body fat and that number's going down, then I feel like I am probably moving in the right direction, but I need
Mm-hmm.
more data. I need to know, okay, is my strength decreasing?
Mm-hmm.
If my strength is decreasing, is this because I'm not eating enough to have the energy to do the workout? Or is this that I'm literally maybe losing muscle mass
Mm-hmm.
that is that weight? And so again, I can compare a few pieces of data with weight to see if I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to be doing, meaning I
Mm-hmm.
still have the energy to live my life. I still have the
Sure.
strength to do and lift. So I have the muscle mass and I have the energy and I'm losing weight. Those three pieces of data put together
Mm-hmm.
give me a picture that I'm moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's it. I could also almost just as easily measure the areas where I store fat, which is right in the belly,
Sure.
which is the worst place to store it, but it is what it is. That's what my genetics want. That's where the
Yeah.
hormones are putting it. And so, from that perspective, yes, I could measure my belly every day and know that that would be another measure of losing fat. Again,
Mhm.
if my energy level's high enough and my muscle mass is intact and I'm still
Mhm.
as strong as I should be on my
Mhm.
lifts, not every lift, because again, I might be having a down day. I might be going
Right.
through something. Talking to a client this week, she got COVID. She's
Mm.
asymptomatic, but she's
Mhm.
realized that her energy level is really, really low.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's important for us to know she had COVID, because if she was trying to lose weight, which she is, but she's also trying to
Mhm.
get stronger, if her energy level is really low and she's not lifting well or can't lift well, um, what is it? Is it that she's not eating enough, or in this
Mhm.
case, it's a virus? And so
Yeah.
data is important, but you have to capture enough of it and know what it all means. And if you
Mhm.
find yourself emotionally involved with a piece of data, you're
Mhm.
probably better not even collecting that data,
For sure.
because again, if it's going to disappoint you, it's very likely to derail you,
Yep.
and that's the opposite of what we need here.
Well, it's important to have all of that context like you had lined out. If somebody is sick, like your client, or I had eye surgery early this year. I mean, I had a whole bunch of weddings and birthdays just run through my family. I've been busy like crazy and fatigued. So, I mean, to put all of those things in context, your lifts aren't going to be great. Your runs aren't going to be great. Whatever activity you're doing is not going to be great because your body is recovering from the illness, injury, or activities. I mean, you just need to make sure that you've got the wide picture on the screen and not be so emotionally driven by one little metric that is out of place, an anomaly in your training. And it's hard sometimes, but it's
It
got to
is,
have it.
but again, I'm really all about the wins.
Hmm.
You did the workout. You
Yeah,
did the
yeah,
best you
yeah.
could for that
Hmm.
particular workout. You
Hmm.
showed up.
Hmm.
Okay. Someone offered you a second piece of cake and you said
Hmm.
no, because you knew
Hmm.
you didn't want it. You knew you didn't
Hmm.
need it. And even though there may have been slight urges to say, yes, that was the most delicious wedding cake, bridal shower cake, birthday cake, whatever,
Hmm.
it came from the special bakery down the road that we always go to for these special occasions.
Hmm.
You said no to the second piece,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're learning, you're growing up, you're getting
Hmm.
control of your urges, and you're managing yourself, your self management. Those are
Hmm.
huge wins. And
Yeah.
so not just the outcomes, particularly the outcomes of stepping on the scale on Monday morning,
Hmm.
but the outcomes of the results of I'm doing the right things for myself. I'm
Yeah.
investing time and effort, and in many
Hmm.
cases money, into my
Hmm.
health to get
Hmm.
better and better. I'm buying higher quality food. I'm
Hmm.
hiring a coach. I'm
Hmm.
doing the workouts. I joined the gym. I bought a piece of
Hmm.
equipment to add to my home gym because I outgrew the dumbbell set I already had.
Hmm.
Those are wins. That's a
For
huge win.
sure.
If you're going to the store to buy a piece of equipment because the equipment you have isn't heavy enough,
Hmm.
you're getting stronger.
Hmm.
Okay, that's huge. That's
That's
a
a big
huge win.
measurement.
You you should celebrate bringing that new piece of equipment in to your
Hmm.
house. It should be a parade.
For sure.
You might
I
need
love
help to
that.
carry it in, but it's a parade.
Yes.
Okay.
That's still awesome. That's
Yeah.
that's a great way to think about it too. If you have a gym membership, how many times a week are you going to your gym? That could be a measurement. You had mentioned how many servings of veggies did you get in a day or even a week? That's a great goal to have to set that up as a goal and take measurement on that. I mean, I think it's about looking way outside the box than what we're used to doing, meaning getting off the scale and looking all these different tactics and goals and things that we could keep in our mindset as we're on our health and fitness journey.
Right. I don't know how many clients I've had where they're like, okay, they'll tell me it's like I was going to work out right after work,
Hmm.
but then this happened.
Oh yeah.
And so they said, what I did was I set my alarm to get up early the next morning to get my workout in before work because I
Hmm.
missed it the night before. And they're saying,
Hmm.
whereas before, if I didn't do something that night, it was
Hmm.
like water under the bridge. I'll never do it again. And
Yeah.
now here they are understanding is I'll just roll. And the
Mm-hmm.
very next opportunity I have, I'll get this workout in.
Mm-hmm.
And then if
Sure.
I need to roll the next one because there's not enough time, I
Mm-hmm.
roll. But the
Yeah.
point being is I didn't just let it go and say
Mm-hmm.
it's gone.
Yeah.
I got it. And so that's a huge win. When someone is
Yeah.
realizing I have control, when I don't have control, I let it go. When I
Mm-hmm.
have control, I get it done. That's
Absolutely.
huge.
That's a big win right there.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I've got to be flexible because things happen, life happens.
All right. Well, next week we're going to be talking about running. So
Sweet.
I know you're going to love this conversation, Rachel.
You know it. That's right. Can't wait.
All right. Well, then I'll talk to you then. Okay.
Take care.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you would, please leave us a rating and review on your podcast player of choice. Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we bring back Matt Fitzgerald to discuss his book, How to Run the Perfect Race: Better Racing Through Better Pacing. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.